Can you kill the lights?
This is the Kill the Lights podcast. With me is my co-host, Joey Dizon. Today we are doing Clarita.
A movie called Clarita.
Clarita.
Yeah. Sounds like a Mexican drink.
But a pretty fair horror movie.
Pretty fair, yeah. You'd think I'd be tired of local movies after watching Maledicto. And
that was kind of, yeah.
But yeah, there was something.
Hit or miss.
We missed one of them. What was that one we missed?
We missed the one with Sharon.
Sharon Cuneta. What was the title of that fucking movie? Well, we missed it anyway.
We missed it.
But I didn't want to miss Clarita because the title of the movie is Clarita. I saw it with a really good friend. One of my scare friends.
Scare friends. I wish I had one of those.
Yeah, Sharon is a really good friend of mine. And we'd always like stay up in the evenings and try to scare each other because we were both attending the University of Santo Tomas. We both were living in apartments, so we'd scare each other around Halloween and whatever.
That will definitely work.
Yeah, so we decided to check it out. Number one, I decided to check this particular movie out because one, it's based on a true story, an actual case in 1953, based on Clarita Villanueva of Bacolod City.
That's a real exorcism.
Yeah, she made headlines because she was a provinciana who became famous because it turns out her case was sort of deemed as legit.
Oh, so it went all the way to the Vatican and they assigned an exorcist to her.
Exactly, because for those of you who don't know, like if you know somebody who you think is possessed, a priest can't go there and do his thing, do his mojo. He has to have a clearance from the Vatican for an actual exorcism to be performed. And I think this is one of the highly publicized cases coming from the Philippines. The movie stars Jodi Santa Maria as Clarita. Ricky Davao as one of the priests, and a returning Romnick Sarmiento as the
career
doctor.
resurgence.
The doctor who is actually the science part of the entire thing, the movie. And the thing is, look, basically the movie starts. The mayor of a city is Mayor Arsenio Lacson is doing a press con and claiming that Clarita is in fact sick and not possessed.
Mentally sick.
And then during that same press con, Clarita decides to bite her finger off and spit it into the crowd.
Dispels that.
So yeah, definitely. Then it makes the headlines, and it's interesting to a photojournalist, and it catches the attention of a priest, a photojournalist, and again Romnick Sarmiento, who are the main characters in the movie. The entire movie is the ordeal of what Clarita has to go through, and how she terrorizes other mental patients at the asylum where she was locked inside. And basically, it's a lot of demon possession movies cliches. It's a lot of that. Like my friend Sharon pointed out, they just used way too much of the levitation scenes.
So that was their only trump card.
It seemed like yun lang, it was the only bullet they had in their gun. They did the levitation scene 2 or 3 times in the film.
Okay.
And the rest of it was just like Clarita, multiple voices speaking in Latin or unknown languages.
Speaking in tongues.
Blaspheming prayer or anything related to the priest or the Christian faith. And but again, what made it really interesting was the fact that it was actually publicized and based on true events happening. At the end of the film, it ends on a positive note. It's nothing like the exorcism of Emily Rose, where unfortunately Emily Rose passed away. Because she would starve
there were
herself
too many
and
demons,
hurt herself.
Yeah.
Here it's the same, that there were a lot of demons possessing Clarita, but it seemed that the priest and alongside the photojournalist and the medical guy Romnick Sarmiento, it seems that they were able to get rid of the demons inside Clarita.
What was Romnick Sarmiento, the science guy's
he was
role?
He was a warden in the
in the mental asylum.
In the mental asylum, and again, Great performance from Jodi Santa Maria. The
Good
acting
soap
was
actor.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the acting was good. Good acting from Ricky Davao, and good. There was a nice storyline of how there were the doubting Thomases involved. That
Well, is she really possessed?
she really
Is she just
possessed.
sick?
People doubting the case, and you know what? I just felt that it took longer than it should have,
hmm
because again,
Especially if you just have a levitating scene every
yeah.
so often.
I mean, I was there are no spinning heads, no like really special effects.
Sadly,
like,
no escalation of that.
no. I just I again, as my friend Sharon pointed out, I think they blew their load really early on. Because you got to remember, in The Exorcist,
Yeah.
it was so terrifying because it was a gradual descent into madness. It just started with her talking to an invisible friend, a young Reagan McNeil, pissing on the floor, telling one of her mom's guests that he would
Ends
die.
with crab walk and
But then there's the
turning
crab
heads.
walk, there's the turning heads, there's the vomiting bile, and then finally
Crucifix
she
fucking.
levitates off the bed. But here it's just your standard run of the mill possession movie, and there's really nothing special except for the fact that the acting was good, and two, it had the power of it had weight because again it was based
The
on
truth,
a true event. But another thing Sharon pointed out that would have been cool was, as soon as the movie ends, we were sort of looking for the end credits to have like actual
Explanation about the
maybe
case.
not just an explanation, like clippings of the newspapers
Oh, yeah.
that featured.
Yeah.
Apparently there were no clippings that were shown.
So how was it a true case?
Well, it's
passed down
documented. No, it's documented again. It made the papers.
Okay.
And it's on the internet, but the movie didn't show any of those clippings.
It would have proven like the oomph behind the truth.
Yeah,
right?
and also it would have shown that a lot of research was done into it. I remember when we caught Maledicto in cinemas, we were talking to the director, and they actually immersed themselves. They joined a few exorcists and a few rituals. It wasn't just like reading stuff off from the internet or whatever.
Yeah, they participated.
Me and Sharon felt that if they included the clippings and maybe had sound bites,
Would have been more legit.
This happened during a time where there was the ability to film moving pictures, or
it's not like
AKA
the 20s
video.
or the 30s.
Yeah, so we were just left wondering, where's that footage? Would have been nice to see it.
Probably
or like in Emily Rose, where they intersperse actual footage in
of
between scenes. That would have been cooler. I can't really say it. Look, it's not a horrible movie, but I did fall asleep. Again, that's my best gauge. I think I was knocked out for about 20 minutes.
Is it a horror movie though, Joey?
It really depends on how into the genre you are. But let's say if you watch at least 2 horror movies in a month, then this will be nothing
to you. Sounds like a low level infestation if there's like just levitation in it.
Yeah, low level maybe. But what I did appreciate, one thing I appreciated in the film is they tried to put in actual information. I remember there was this movie, Anthony Hopkins movie, a few years ago called The Right. And they established a piece of information that in order to drive a demon out of a person, you have to call it by its name.
You have to find out its real name.
You have to find out who it is and then call him out. And then I drive you out of this body, Baal, or whatever. Anyway, they reestablished that piece of information here, which I thought was pretty cool and showed signs of research and whatnot. So there's a scene wherein the priests are driving the devil out, and Jodi Santa Maria goes into a shrieking fit, and she names all of the demons that are inside her.
Ooh.
So I was like, oh wow, this is the climax of the film. And right after that, the priest just says, "In the name of Jesus Christ, get
Oh,
the fuck out of there,"
man.
and doesn't repeat the
Any
names.
of the names. So it's like a blanket exorcism.
It's
Hey,
a-
all y'all,
So
party's
I thought,
over.
yeah, I thought that was pretty careless.
Yeah.
Very
But
very careless.
How many demons were inside her?
There
though?
were multiple demons. I started counting because I remembered in Maledicto it was the 7 deadly sins
Yes,
who
so
were
there's like
possessing
7
her. So
of
there are
them,
7
yeah.
of them. Here I counted around 5, maybe more than 5.
Okay.
So because of the knowledge of Maledicto, I was like, all right, I wonder how many are inside.
Mhm.
The thing is, with the priest not calling it out and the exorcism, the possession scene
kind of a
ending there, it was kind of a
sloppy-
letdown.
Yeah, it's kind of a sloppy exorcism.
Yeah,
right?
it's a sloppy mistake. And I was like, okay, what happened? Why did she say all the names, but
Mhm.
he didn't? But then it was
Mhm.
still a happy ending.
Yeah, it kind of seems like it's like, oh, we don't have a production budget for all those damn names
Yeah.
or CGI for that.
Or this ran too long. Let's cut a scene and then we
Yeah,
cut that
exactly.
one. It was again. There's no better word to describe it than careless,
Careless.
because it was right after the fact that they established the
Established.
ground rules for an exorcism. The acting was great.
Mhm.
Truth be told, I did not recognize Ricky Davao
Oh, in
as
that
the
role?
priest.
Oh.
I recognized Romnick. It was sort of goofy,
Mhm.
and honestly, Romnick didn't really add anything special to the movie.
Okay.
As I
Sadly.
remember, Romnick was like a teeny bopper kind of
Yeah, it
celebrity,
was.
not
He
really
was a
like a
big, like-
serious actor
No.
or whatever. So he did sort of look goofy as a doctor.
Mhm.
And the photojournalist, new fresh face. I kind of remember who the fuck she was. Pretty girl,
Okay.
photojournalist. But in my opinion, yeah, like if a girl's that pretty, she probably is not a photojournalist
Mhm.
rushing into the,
Should
like
be in front of
working
the
in the
camera.
mud or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, I got to give props to Jodi Santa Maria. It was a great
Good acting,
performance, good
Mhm.
acting. And I guess to sum it up, my review would be nice try.
Nice try. Don't
Nice
ever try that again.
Yeah, but don't do that again.
What's your score? though?
Score, I would probably give it a 4.
Okay.
Um,
Below average.
there were red flags already because well, we did watch it on a weekday afternoon,
Mhm.
but then there was just like about 8 of us inside
Okay.
the cinema. So I was like, oh, it's either like people are really working
Mhm.
or it's just that bad. There were like 10 of us inside this movie house. And as much as there were some jump scares and there were some scenes that were a little hard to look at, again, it didn't scar me in
Jump
any
scares
way.
weren't enough. Like,
Yeah.
Annabelle has plenty of jump scares, but this one doesn't
Yeah.
justify it.
Well, I mean, I remember after the movie, we still talked horror, me and Sharon, but we talked about our own personal experiences
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and nothing about the movie. So I guess
That's a bad sign.
that was the bad sign. And then we went again, like I mentioned in our previous episode, we went about our days.
Mhm.
It wasn't
Didn't
something
stick
that
in your
kept
head.
us up
Mhm.
that evening or whatever. We went out to get donuts, and
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
That's a bad
that's
sign.
what it is. I mean, it's entertainment. It's just hard with I guess it's harder with local horror movies, Filipino horror movies,
Yeah.
because you also have this expectation,
Yeah.
or you're given this hope that, all right, this is gonna be a great film.
Especially with, it's not a bad acting cast. I mean,
not a bad acting cast.
talent-wise,
And I mean,
right?
what the fuck? It was based on something that was true.
True. Yeah.
So that alone should be enough to scare the shit out of you, because hey man, this shit actually happened. But at the end of the film, save for a few jump scares, really no scare factor for me. So,
Zero,
yeah,
okay.
zero scare factor. I fell asleep and apparently it was more than 30 minutes.
Oh man, that's
so I guess
long.
that's pretty bad for a film that's
Full
barely
length. Yeah.
that's barely over the 1 hour mark.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was Clarita.
Don't go watch it.
Yeah, reasons for watching it. Maybe you just ran out of movies
To watch.
to
Like,
watch,
That's a pretty desperate.
or it's one of
move.
those movies you're bored out of your skull. And,
Oh, let's watch that one.
or you're not bored out of your skull, but you're busy at the bank. And then there's like more than 10 people in front of you, but you're not gonna watch a good movie because by the time they call your number, it's gotta
should
be a
be in
movie
there.
that you can let
You
go
can let
of.
go.
That
Like,
it's okay, even if I didn't finish it, it's fine.
it's fine by me. I
Yeah.
gotta go to the back.
So I mean, look, it has a purpose.
Mhm.
It has a purpose. It keeps you busy when you're busy, but waiting for some shit to happen. So if you're paying your bills, or you're waiting for the bank to cash your check, or you're waiting for that P2P bus,
Sadly, it won't make a dent in the canon of Philippine horror movies.
no, not by a bit.
Not by a
but
bit.
that's what it's useful for. The ride home, the long ride home, pop it in. If you're stuck in traffic, pop it in, because whether or not you understand it, you like it, or you finish it, it's not gonna matter in the grand scheme
Well,
of things.
It's a 4 out of 10. I would expect that.
4 out of 10. I think that's still being pretty generous, but again, great acting job by Jodi Santa Maria.
Yeah, I guess they kind of wasted her in that.
Yeah,
movie.
I gotta give her props there. It was good acting, and well, she did look possessed. And
There you go. But with just 3 levitation scenes, well,
Yeah.
gotta do better.
yeah, you gotta do better. There was a semblance of the spider crawl, but also not done very well.
Oh man,
So I just think all that hype behind the movie. The
being
thing is,
true and
you gotta deliver.
yeah.
That's just the basic premise of why I give it such a low score.
I mean, give props at least. I mean, make it worth the while of the actual person who was possessed.
yeah,
Do
it's
it justice.
There you go. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed these reviews. If you have any suggestions, hit us up on our Facebook page, Kill the Lights PH. This has been your host, Joey D, and with me is Karl
Yes,
Mesa. Thanks
thank
for
you.
listening in, and we'll see you next time.